If you're looking to move to New Haven for Yale, here's the truth. Most people get it wrong their first time out. They end up with no parking, a brutal commute, or they end up overpaying for the neighborhood that they really want to be in. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 neighborhoods around Yale that most people actually love: downtown, East Rock, and Westville. Plus, I'm going to throw in a couple almost New Haven neighborhoods that will give you more space and a better value. Don't pull an offer in until you see how these neighborhoods compete for their value, their vibe, and their housing style. What's up, everyone? I'm Joe Cafasso with the Cafasso Real Estate Group at My Good Agent and your New Haven and Yale area real estate guide. On this channel, we're going to cover what it's really like to live in New Haven and the greater surrounding neighborhoods. So if you're planning a move here to Yale, the hospitals, or just a lifestyle change, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell for notifications of when I release new videos, and I'm going to show you and break down all the different neighborhoods that you have to choose from. So let's start with a quick map view to let you know where everything is situated. If you're coming into New Haven, most likely you're coming down either 95 or 91, or up 95. So when you get off in downtown New Haven, you come on what's called the Oak Street Connector. This will drop you straight into Yale Hospital. So we're looking at downtown New Haven, which one of the first landmarks we see is the New Haven Green. So technically the New Haven Green, it's unique because it's one of the only greens in New England that is actually privately owned. It's not owned by the city of New Haven. So here is the green, and you can see it's very expansive. It has 2 churches on, or actually 3 churches on it, as a big flagpole with a water fountain. On this part of the green, all during the summer, you have the Yale Arts Festival, you have concerts, there is a tree lighting around the holiday time. You have a lot of activities on the green. And this is kind of the central part which divides Yale University and further down the hospital with all the restaurants and shopping. And actually here you could see the old campus of Yale is actually part of, it's right on the edge of the green. Literally, these are dormitories, and they're right on the edge of the green. So a lot of the time, while you're going to different, like the Yale Art Gallery, you're actually walking through the Yale campus, which makes New Haven kind of unique and different. So from the green, you have 3 different areas. You have downtown, you have East Rock, which is north of the green, and then you have Westville to the west. So these are 3 different neighborhoods I'm going to talk about. Downtown New Haven, you're most likely looking at either condos or you're looking at apartment buildings. So Chapel Street and Crown Street. Crown Street, you have a lot of restaurants, and then you have different university towers, you have different apartment buildings, you have a couple different hotels. This is where a lot of the apartments are being built. And one of the things that somebody told me way back probably about 2010, 2011, is that once a city breaks 100 restaurants, that's when it really becomes a livable city that could support a lot of new construction for apartment buildings and condos. And back around 2010, you could see all the restaurants on here. New Haven did break 100 restaurants, and for the most part, they've been very stable. There is, of course, different turnover of types of restaurants. Back a while back, we had a huge number of nightclubs and bars, and now we're seeing that change over to more restaurants with bars and pub-type atmosphere. So the city is always growing and changing, but one of the things that always stays is the number of restaurants that we have. So if you go down to Worcester Square, down off of Chapel Street, this is where you have a lot of the pizza places, your Pepe's, your Sally's. For regular Italian restaurants, this is Little Italy. You have Tre Scalini and Consiglio's, which are kind of like cornerstones of the dining institutions. And you also have Worcester Square, which kind of like the New Haven Green, you have a lot of walking paths traversing it, and it's a great place for some exercise, dog walking, and stuff like that. But back to the green, again, this is kind of the heart of New Haven. This is where a lot of the Yale campus is, a little further north. A little further north, you have Yale Law School up around here. I worked here from 1999 to 2004 in the IT department. You have the iconic Toad's Place, where a ton of different music legends have played over the years. But as you could see, Harkness Hall, these are all Yale buildings, and they're really in the right in the heart of New Haven and surrounding all of your different bars, restaurants, and social activities. Again, you have the Yale Art Museum, you have the British Art Center, Yale Repertory Theater. Let's see if I could find the Schubert Theater, which is right in here somewhere. Omni Hotel. So you have a lot of activities in downtown New Haven. This is culturally where you're going to be hanging out, even if you live in other towns such as Hamden, Woodbridge, Orange. You're going to be coming to New Haven for the nightlife because this is where it all happens. So I talked about the pros of downtown New Haven, having everything that you could possibly want socially and entertainment. Let's talk about some of the negatives. One of which is parking. It's expensive to park. If you have a car and you're living in New Haven, that's why a lot of people who are renting or buying condos downtown, they rely on public transportation because renting a parking garage on a monthly basis, I don't even know what the cost is anymore. Back when I had an office in downtown New Haven, back in 2010, I was paying $200 a month just for daytime parking, not even 24-hour parking. So I can't even imagine what it is right now. So if you're looking to have a car in the city, then you're going to want to live outside of downtown where you have to pay for parking, somewhere like Westville where you have off-street parking, East Rock even, although on-street parking in East Rock you do have to pay for, but a lot of times that's permitted parking. So that might be something you want to look for. If you don't have a car and you do rely on public transportation, then downtown New Haven is great. The other thing of downtown New Haven, in the past 10 years or so, there's been a lot of new construction. However, that's focusing mainly on luxury apartment buildings. So housing is very expensive in downtown. And also your choices of housing, if you're looking to purchase, then downtown might not be for you unless you're looking at condo living. But if you're looking to rent an apartment, there are hundreds and hundreds of choices, and I could point you in the right direction for some of that. But unfortunately, I don't do a lot of downtown rental housing. I mainly do purchases. But I can certainly help you, point you in the right direction of where to find some of the best apartment buildings to rent in. So if you go north out of the city and you're going up Church Street, which turns into Whitney Avenue, you're going to really about here, Bradley Street, Trumbull Street. This is really where downtown ends, and you turn into East Rock. This is the section of New Haven just north. Again, you have the Peabody Museum, which is a great natural history museum, and the Science Center, and you could see the university starts to end and more traditional housing begins. So Whitney Avenue is the dividing mark of the two different sections of East Rock. So on your right-hand side, you have houses that are more moderately priced, and again, moderate in the definition of downtown New Haven. It is very expensive, and taxes especially are expensive to live in New Haven itself. But the moderately priced sections over here, you have a lot of multifamily housing, which ends up being what a lot of home buyers in the area look at purchasing, because you could buy a 3-family house and rent out 2 of the units and basically live for the same price that you would rent in the area. So buying a multifamily house, especially if you're only here for a couple years, is one of the better options in the area. And as you could see on the left-hand side of the screen, your properties are very much larger, and the land, you have a lot more land than you do on the right-hand side of the street. Because of that, the prices are extremely high as well. So if you're looking to purchase for a couple years and have more of a moderately priced area, you're going to be looking at Whitney Avenue to the east of Willow Street, Livingston Street, Cold Spring, Canner, and Linden. These are really your best areas to look to purchase, especially if you're looking for a multifamily house and something that's going to hold its value. Even during the 2008 to 2010 recession, the property values in East Rock, because it's a very ever-changing neighborhood, it's transient in the term of a lot of Yale professors, faculty, staff, and students are looking to purchase in this area, but only for a short period of time. And because of that, back in 2008 to 10, we never really saw prices decline because we always had turnover. And it was people who had to move to the area. They were looking to purchase, not rent. And it was a very good, strong housing market that really didn't see the decline that the rest of the state saw. But again, if you want to look at the opposite side of the street, you do have some condos. But you have some beautiful, beautiful properties, St. Ronan Street, Autumn Street, Loomis Place. These are really, really nice neighborhoods if you're looking in that $1 million plus type neighborhood. You also have some private schools. You have the Foote School, which is a private elementary school. You have Albertus Magnus College. So you have a lot of different academic activities in the area. And you could see it's just from the map view, you could tell it's a really beautiful area. So some of the other pros to the area are you have larger houses. You have the ability to bike to campus. This is a very short commute if you're taking a bicycle or even public transportation, the bus if it's raining. You could get to the university or downtown New Haven very quickly. Again, the downsides are much higher purchase prices and really much higher property taxes than any other part of the city or really the state. But again, it's what you get. You get sizable amounts of land and you get the convenience of being downtown New Haven. So if we go back downtown and we're going to head over to the west and go over to Westville. So okay, so now we're back to the New Haven Green, and we're going to go down Chapel Street, which turns into Westville. So you have some different neighborhoods here as well. You have Sherman Avenue, which again, you have a mix of doctor's offices because you're right next to the Yale St. Raphael campus. So Yale has two different campuses, St. Raphael's, which used to be a separate hospital, and then down a little further south over here, you have the actual Yale hospital. So you could see they're both pretty close to each other, but they're two separate campuses. But you have a lot of doctor's offices. So if your office isn't in the hospital, a lot of doctor's offices are on Sherman Avenue, George Street, and in that area. But we're going to keep going down Chapel Street. And again, Chapel and Dwight, which is back a little further, that's another big rental community for Yale staff, students, but we're going to keep going down Chapel Street, and this is the West River area. You have Edgewood Park. So you have a lot of green open space in New Haven. You have the Yale Bowl. This used to be the Pilot Penn Tennis Center, which was sold a couple years ago and is now a music amphitheater. So you have some really great concerts here. You have the Yale, both baseball field and tennis center. I'm shooting this video on December 2nd, and a couple weeks ago we had the Yale-Harvard game, which is a huge every other year. They play in New Haven, and then the opposite year in New Haven, at Harvard and Boston. And so you could see here between Westville and downtown, you have all the athletic areas. So now this is Westville. So again, this is a little bit more suburban. You're not downtown New Haven, but you also do have a lot of different housing options. You have single-family houses, multifamily, and then up a little further north here, you have apartment buildings and condos as well. So as you can see from the map, it's dense, but it's probably the same denseness as the east side of East Rock. It's not downtown New Haven density. As you can see, here's some of the apartment and condos. These are actually condos. So they're mixed housing in different configurations in the same neighborhood, which is really nice because it gives you good diversity of housing and support. If you go up to Whaley Avenue, you have restaurants, your banking, there's a McDonald's here, Cilantro's a great Mexican restaurant. So this is where all of your restaurants and shopping will be. Again, this goes right back into downtown New Haven. Fountain Street, you have, again, apartments. The post office and fire department are here. Here's the post office. Bella's Cafe, this is a great little breakfast spot. And you do have some different markets mixed in Westville itself. The dividing mark of Westville and Upper Westville is right here, Forest Road. So this is the main road that goes down from Route 34, which is where all the athletic center is, back up to Fountain and Whaley Avenue where the shopping is. This is kind of the dividing mark of where homes were built in the 20s and 30s and earlier, and the more 1950s subdivisions, still in East Rock or in Westville. But these are a little bit smaller homes. These are 1,500 square feet, whereas the other side of Fountain Street, they go up to 3,000, 4,000 square feet. So this is the more moderately sized neighborhoods. Again, great little neighborhood for first-time home buyers, people looking to downsize. You will find one-level ranch-style houses here, a couple raised ranches, capes and colonials as well, but being built in the 50s and 60s, you have more diverse housing than you do the typical 1920s colonial that you'll find in Westville itself. A little further down, right off of Forest Road, you have the Hopkins School. This is a private elementary school. You have the Yale golf course, which is back here somewhere up here. So New Haven, even though it is a city, you do have a lot of open space and green space and a lot of activities that you could do outdoors. So as I mentioned in the intro to the video, is that a lot of people who are looking in New Haven for Yale aren't actually only looking in New Haven. So one of the other hot spots of activity, and this is where I used to live, is in Hamden. So this area here is East Rock, where I showed you right after we took the tour of downtown New Haven. But this is the East Rock section, and if you just keep going up Whitney Avenue a little bit, and again, it's not that far, now you're in New Haven. Now you're in Hamden. So Hamden, from here, which is Whitneyville, this is only about 3 miles to downtown New Haven, right on Whitney Avenue. There's bus lines, but a lot of people will take bicycles. There's back ways, depending on where you're working at Yale or going to school. There's lots of different routes to travel. So 2 of the neighborhoods that people really look at are where I used to live, Whitneyville, which is really Augur Street up to Waite Street. Treadwell Street, this is where I used to live. That house right there, there was a park that was across the street from me, and when our kids were young, literally we'd walk across the street to the park every day. There was an ice cream truck that came and hung out right after dinner time in the summer, which was really dangerous with a 3 and 5-year-old. We had lots of ice cream. But again, very similar to Westville. Again, depending on where you're working at Yale, if you're going to the School of Management, law school, this is a lot more convenient than the hospital, which is past the green. So I find a lot of people who are looking at moving for the academic side of Yale end up looking in Whitneyville or Spring Glen, which is only the next neighborhood over. So again, here's the Reservoir and Waite Street. This is kind of the dividing line between Whitneyville, which is a little bit closer together homes, 1,500 square foot homes, to Spring Glen, where you could see the lot size is a little bit larger. You're looking at 0.2 acres versus 0.1 in Whitneyville. So they're a little bit further spread apart. Prices are higher. Homes are a little bit larger as well. Spring Glen has a nice area here on Whitney Avenue where you have a steakhouse, you have a couple really nice pizza places and Italian restaurants, you have a pharmacy, really nice if you're into high-end wines and stuff. Cork and Barrel has a really nice selection of winery. And again, this is the area that when people say we're looking to move because of Yale to New Haven, they also look at these areas of Hamden. Like I said in the beginning, there's tons of other areas as well. Bethany, Orange, Woodbridge, if you're looking for a little bit more of a suburban, rural type neighborhood. But if you're looking for something for, 3 to 5 years, that you want easy access to New Haven, the neighborhoods that I've mentioned here are really the ones that a lot of people look at. Again, that's downtown if you're looking for condo or apartment living, East Rock, Westville, Whitneyville and Hamden, or Spring Glen and Hamden. Now, there's other parts of New Haven as well. You have Fairhaven, you have Lighthouse Point, you have the East Shore, but really the reason that a lot of people bypass those areas at the beginning of their search is right here. So this is the Quinnipiac, is this area right here. So this is the Q Bridge, the Quinnipiac River Bridge. So this has a lot of traffic. So if you don't mind traffic, or if you're commuting to the city at different time frames where you're not going to get stuck in rush hour traffic, you have a lot of different housing stock. You have this whole area, Lighthouse Point, Fort Hale Park over here, Lighthouse Point, which is all the way down to the bottom here, and Morris Cove. You have a lot of different areas that you could choose from, but at the start of people's searches, usually they look at across the Q Bridge because they don't want to get stuck in traffic. Another amenity that we have that a lot of people are just starting to utilize now is Tweed New Haven Airport. This is a great little airport. We have Bradley Airport up in Hartford, but this is a limited service. We don't have a lot of different flights that come out of here. But if you do have somewhere that you're flying, like Florida to Tweed Airport, very, very convenient, very quick in and out of security. So this is a really nice area as well. Again, if you're looking to buy a house in this area, then we're going to look at flight patterns and see where there's some noise, because every once in a while they do change flight patterns. So like Burr Street, a lot of this area is very, very noisy with air traffic. So we have to really be careful, pretty much like from Burr up to Hyde Street in this pocket of neighborhood, for when you're looking to buy here, what the flight traffic is like at the time. Of course, it could always change. But that is really another option that you have for where to buy in New Haven. So again, looking at some of the pros and cons of the area, obviously price. The closer you get to New Haven itself, to downtown, your prices go up. What you have for transportation, if you want to park in New Haven, again, it's pricey. If you want to bike or walk to school or work, it's a lot more affordable because you're not paying that monthly fee. Do you want a neighborhood setting, or do you want something a little bit more spread out? A lot of people like the community. If they're just moving here and they don't know anybody, they like that close-knit community of being able to wave to your neighbor from 5 feet out your door. So that's one of the things that you look at. But again, it's really your personal preference. So what I do with my clients when they're looking to move to New Haven, and I've helped hundreds of people make this transition, is we get in the car and I have a 3-hour tour, and I promise you it's not like Gilligan's Isle where we're going to get lost in a little boat after 3 hours, but it's a 3-hour tour of anywhere from downtown New Haven all the way up through Hamden, all of Hamden, because the area that I showed you is very much a neighborhood, a city type living, but Hamden is a vast community. We have a lot of rural areas as well. So all the way up through Hamden, Bethany, Orange, Woodbridge, down to Milford, and across to West Haven and back to New Haven. It takes about 3 hours. gives you a very good insight of everything that the area has to offer. We look at all the shopping, restaurants, nightlife, entertainment, and basically anything that would help you make the decision of where best to move in New Haven. So if you're looking to make a move to New Haven, feel free to reach out. I will give you my 21 years of experience of working in real estate in this area and my 47 years of living in Connecticut right in the New Haven area, and give you all the pros and cons of where you should look to move and why you should look to move there. Again, anything that you need to know, feel free to send me an email, text, phone call, any way that you want to communicate. All my contact info is below in the description. And good luck in your search, and I hope to help you soon.